Hey guys, today is Wednesday and we're going to be working in our 3 plus 8 math book on page 261. We're going to refer back to 260 that we did yesterday together, but I just wanted to go ahead and start with this page. So let's read the first couple questions. Let's talk about it. Work with a partner. So if you would like to work with a partner from home, you can do so. Grab someone from home, pause the video, or you can go and just get a piece of paper and follow along with me and use that piece of paper. Okay? So let's look at number 8, I'm sorry. How did you know how many squares were missing in the first rectangle? So let's go back to that page 260 and we see this first rectangle. So what we did was we just pulled across for each row. We drew a line for each row and then we drew a line for each column. So that way that we were able to fill in the rest of the chart. So let's go write that answer down on this page. Mark up. I'm going to use black. Okay, so how did you know how many squares were missing in the first rectangle? I saw 4 squares in a row. And there were 6. There are 6 rows. Okay? So now let's go back and look at that page again after we read number 9. How did you know how many squares were missing in the second rectangle? So let's go back to that second rectangle. So this is the one that had the bigger squares. So on this one, what we did was we just pulled down to finish out that first row of squares. And then we drew 2 lines to finish out the, here, I'll show you. So what we did was we just pulled down right here to finish that column. And then we pulled across to make our rows. Okay? So the answer that we're going to put for that one is I drew 1 square to fill in the left column. Then I finished the rows to draw the squares. In the second column, or the right column. Okay? All right, let's look at number 10. The 2 rectangles are the same size. Why is there a different number of squares in each one? So when you think back to those 2 rectangles that are the same size, what's something that you notice? Think about that for a second. I notice that the squares are different sizes, so that's why there's a different number. The squares are different sizes. Okay, awesome. All right, now let's go down to try another way. Use dot paper to draw squares. So instead of using graph paper, we could use dot paper and to draw squares and rectangles. And this would be much easier if we were at school, but for this problem, we're just going to look down here at number 11 with the 2 examples given. So it says, show 2 different ways to fill the rectangle with same size squares. So I'm going to say, use blue. Let's make smaller squares over here and then bigger squares over here. So fill you can just make these rectangles and then draw the squares inside of them, since you probably do not have dot paper at home. Okay? So I think I'm going to finish this line. And then I'm going to draw some lines down and make sure that my squares are all the same size. So I could do that way, or I could even make super tiny squares and pull all of these lines down and all of the lines across. So they are all the same size, and that's all that we're looking for. So they can be so tiny, or they could be bigger, or we could just draw a line right here and make 2 squares. It doesn't look even, but there we go. All right, guys. So we're just making sure that we are drawing squares and rectangles, okay? If I pulled this line across, it would not be correct because those would be rectangles, but I can make those lines and make those squares. All right, guys. So this is today's work for Wednesday, and I will see you again tomorrow. Bye-bye.